We're back with another game of the Harlem Globetrotter Triple Elimination Tournament. This is round 6, I think, and at this point, only 4 coaches remain. Those would be Matt95, who's my opponent in this game, who's undefeated, myself, and the tournament organizer, Harlem Globetrotter, both of whom are 5-2, and Montagna Magica, who is 4-2. The other 13 coaches have all taken 3 losses, so it's just the 4 of us who remain. And I have to go up against the undefeated coach, Matt95. If I win, both of us stay alive. If I lose, he will stay undefeated and have only one remaining opponent, because the other 2 are playing a knockout game. So here we go. Matt95, one of the highest ranking coaches, or coaches with the best record in the Junior League currently in Season 7. So I know I have my work cut out for me, even if I do have the Nomar buff. You'll see that I have Holly Franklin on the mound, and out there in center, Barry Larkin. Those are clones of Fernando Diaz and Claudia Villarta. Probably Villarta. He has both of those players on his team. So my roster and his actually have a significant amount of overlap as far as the regular season goes, which is kind of interesting. As for this game, though, somebody had to swap off, so I'm on Barry and Holly. And we get a pretty nice strikeout against his speedy leadoff batter, Sheila. Feeling good about that. Here comes Claudia. So he has also, a similar strategy to me in terms of leading off the game. He has a 2 7-speeds up to bat first. It's going to be low. He does go for it, but unfortunately, even though Holly's able to field the ball without much trouble, Alicia decides to run off the bag for whatever reason. So Claudia makes her way to first base for my opponent, not for me. Usually when I talk about Claudia reaching first, it's because I've succeeded, but here it was because my opponent had. Now we have Susan Gore, who is the Ken Griffey Jr. clone. Looks like Barry's going to get there first. So I'm going to have Nomar back off, and Wally can grab the ball. Thankfully, he doesn't drop it, as he has been dropping a lot of stuff recently. It's crazy to me that the Junior League draft and trade period was wacky enough that somebody ended up with both Sammy Sosa and a Ken Griffey Jr. clone on the same team. It's no wonder that he has found himself, Matt95 has found himself near the top of the Junior League. With a squad like that.
Super bad.
Got to pitch carefully to Sammy. I'll be fine with giving up a walk as long as I don't give up a home run. We do have 2 outs here, so even if I put Sammy on first, and it looks like I do, all we need is, to get an out, a force out here against Raquel Cullen, who I believe is the Tony Gwynn clone. So just a 65 power bat. Not really something I'm afraid of. I think we make a mistake there by throwing to third rather than second, because Claudia is the faster runner. So unfortunately, we do not get out of this inning as I probably should have. Here we have Betty Houston. She's got a pretty big bat. I don't want to walk her. I also don't want to give up a grand slam. Thankfully, Matt lets that pitch go by. And I use my more juice early for some extra accuracy. Ooh. Very close to like a pixel perfect pitch, which is really what I was aiming for. Looks like we walk in a run here. Doesn't feel good to give up runs in the first inning, but not the end of the world. As long as we can get out Karen. That's a good sign. Will Artie catch this? He does. A clutch grab from Artie to end the inning. Honestly, pretty happy with, limiting the damage there. I did make that goof up by throwing to the wrong base when Artie fielded Raquel's line drive to left field. But that's okay. Big hit from Artie here. And Claudia slightly mispositioned. So we do get a double. Here's Barry. New to me, but, he mechanically the same as Claudia, so we will go for it. Okay. That couldn't have gone any worse. My base running has been a little crazy recently, but it's fine. Well, now that I think about it, he has Sammy Sosa, and I have Cheryl Reynolds, the Sammy clone. So we have 3 players on our teams who are statistically identical. I'm looking at his team on my other monitor here, though, and I mean, even though I have Nomar making my team stronger by cutting Chucky, his team looks as good as mine. His regular season team looks as good as mine. Kind of crazy. I believe that would have hooked just inside the zone for a nice hittable ball. Unfortunate that I fouled that one off. But good that I spotted that his second pitch was low, keeping the count even. That's a strike? No, okay. Sometimes I really cannot tell with those high hooks, man. Nice pitch from Matt. Ooh, is that? No, that's not out of the park. That's going to be an easy grab. Unfortunately, his right fielder, who could be one of 3 different players, he's got triplets with the brunette pigtails. Whoever that is out there does not make the grab. Might be Betty Houston, who has quite a low coordination stat. Actually, now that I think about it, Betty's probably at second. So maybe it was Sheila or Karen. I don't know. Either way, we are still alive. In this inning, I mean. Of course, we're very much alive in the game as well, as is Matt. I am giving Alicia the steal sign on every pitch. Ooh, yeah. Ugh. Gross. Are we going to make it? Well, I feel okay about making it, getting on first that way because he also got Claudia on base when my first baseman decided, well, I'm just going to do whatever I want in the top of the first and left the bag. So kind of a tit-for-tat situation. Yeah, nice hit. Run, Nomar, run. Oh, we're scoring. Honestly, might have been able to get the inside the park home run if I were a little faster at like sequencing my clicks. I know there's a way to, like, if you sprint with someone as they're approaching a base and you keep clicking, there's you can greatly reduce the amount of lag, like the time that they spend standing on the base before they move on to the next base pass. I'm not very good at that. I'm not very good at base running in general. My strengths are more pitching and patience at the plate. He does grab that, you know, silly little pop-up from Artie, but I feel fine. Feel good about it. We do have a nice lead. And that's an easy catch. To bring up Johnny Omar, who's rather slow and has a pretty weak bat. Should be able to get him out without too much trouble. Knock on wood. Alicia decides to stay on her base. And we get a second out real quick, bringing up the top of his order once again. Yeah, not sure why I was temporarily thinking about pitching high. We got to keep him low. Ball again. Yep. Okay, I decided to mix it up a little, but that's clearly a ball. So that's going to be a walk. That is not what not great play there from me. Should not have been pitching so carefully, I don't think. Okay. This game happened long ago, so I don't have a good memory. I know whether I won or lost, but I don't have a strong memory of how the game turned out. Nice grab from Cheryl. Very reliable at shortstop, even though she might be more valuable in the outfield, depending on who you ask. Probably shouldn't have swung at that. Just let that go. See if I get dealt something a little easier to hit. You know, although don't expect to do a lot of quality hitting with Donald to begin with. I believe that Holly, who is, you know, the Fernando clone, I have at the bottom of the order. So after this at bat, Wally probably coming back up. Sorry for any sounds of eating ice cream. That's what I'm doing right now. Okay. Holly a little slow because I've been pitching with her, so her stamina is low. She can't reach base even though Fernando bobbles that ball. Ooh, very hittable right there. Disappointed to have fouled that one off, but nice hit there. Does it get past? No. Good fielding for my opponent to put who I assume is Claudia out there in center field in position to get that ball, not let it get past her. Okay, what can Barry do for us here? We do have 2 outs. Not necessarily expecting to score this inning, but We'll do our best. That's in there. Swung a little early. Kind of reminded myself of Vinny the Gooch there. I remember, I mean, these days I like to play with commentary off. But when I played as a kid, season mode. Looks like he's got Johnny Omar coming onto the mound. When I played as a kid in season mode, Vinny would always have something to say about your batter's performance. And he would say, swung early, or I can't remember his exact inflection for swung late. But it was always the opposite of what you had done. He was always wrong, I seem to remember, from my days playing. Ooh, should have let that go. That might have been high. Ugh. Yeah, I seem to remember that Vinny didn't have a great eye for timing. So striking out Claudia at the end of the top of the second, previously when Matt was up to bat, is great because now he's got his two big power hitters up, Susan Gore and Sammy Sosa, and he doesn't have anyone on base to hit home in case he hits a home run. So I'll go ahead and pitch to him rather than walk him. And it looks like he makes me pay for that decision as the ball does sneak over the fence there. So Susan makes it 3-2. I still have the lead, but he does have some dangerous batters coming up, and he's only one run behind with no outs. So we're going to have to be careful. Making some little tiny adjustments to that left hook so it doesn't fall too far inside the zone. But it finds its way in there, and then it finds its way out of the park. Sammy ties up the game. Back-to-back home runs from Matt95 and the Expos. There was a lot of talk, in the Junior League trading channel earlier this season during the trade window. A lot of people, I would say, the higher ranking coaches in the league trying to make really favorable deals for themselves, and a lot of them got rejected by the admins. Honestly, I can see why. Oh my goodness. So this is not something you would expect from a 65 power bat, but we've got back-to-back-to-back home runs from my opponent here. And my comment about trades being rejected, not wanting Ken Griffey Jr. and Sammy Sosa to end up on the same team, that doesn't really apply to Raquel Cullen, a Tony Gwynn clone. More of a contact hitter, I would say. But she still goes long and puts Matt out in front. And you can see some of my players, kind of bending over in pain and shaking their heads. Yeah, tell me about it. And now we have up an 89 power bat, an actual home run threat after Raquel just went yard on me. So I've had enough of this nonsense, and I will be walking her. So after I walk Betty, she's going to be on first, and he's going to have a lot of lower quality hitters coming up. So the goal is going to be let absolutely none of them reach base. Because if they do reach base, Matt is one step closer to bringing up, the murderer's row part of his rotation, or rather his batting order. So I would like to postpone that for as long as possible. Unfortunately, that means I'm going to have to pitch carefully, even though I'm already on low stamina, to the bottom of the order. Might bring in Nomar to do that and let Holly get some rest. I'm not sure why the game is lagging here, but it never crashed. I remember that. Never crashed in this game, so I'm expecting myself to pause and get Nomar on the mound. Yeah. Nomar has just the fastball and left hook, so you want to keep him off the mound against stronger pitchers, or stronger batters. As you don't want to feed them fastballs. Good start to his time on the mound here. Going to throw something low and get him to try to chase it, I think. He does not swing. We get him there. That pitch, in fairness to my opponent, that pitch did look kind of low to me. So I guess Nomar just, squeezed a little pixel into the strike zone. And we have Fernando Diaz. Go for something high here. Wally's going to drop this 100%, man. Thankfully, Betty, who I walked earlier, is slow enough that I can still get the force out at second. But I was just talking about not letting anyone reach base. And unfortunately, we do, because Wally, is stinking up the place, or has been recently, at second base. If we'd thrown straight to Alicia there, perhaps we could have gotten the out. Although, I did lose a game earlier in this tournament because I tried to throw from my catcher to one of the bases of the corners, and the throw just went past them. So maybe throwing to Alicia wouldn't have been the best play. Probably should have done it to try to get Johnny to bat twice. But hindsight is 20/20. We've got Cheryl up. It's got to be high, right? Yeah, I never know when pitches are thrown high. I just never know whether they're in the zone or not. That's in the zone. A little bit of tricky movement on that pitch, but I'm pretty sure it would have found its way into the corner. I can feel myself in the past wanting to pull the trigger there. It has to be a ball. Okay, thank you. Oh, am I switching to power? No. Should keep it on line drive, I think, as I do have 2 strikes. Don't want to whiff at something. Great pitch from Matt there. It's an especially good choice because after I held off on swinging at a fastball that was inside, he goes to the other side of the plate and says, okay, now I'm going to throw something outside the zone by the same degree, perhaps, but on the other side. Will you swing at this? I don't, but he next levels me, and it turns out it actually was found its way into the corner. So good play on the mound from my opponent. Guess I should have let that go, huh? Talking about the the pitch that Alicia just hit. Yuck. Might end up swinging for power here with Nomar. Line drive probably the correct call, but seeing as I have 2 outs, I'm unlikely to bat him home. So swinging for the fences might actually be the best, or might actually be a legitimate choice. Oh? Nomar? Are we going to get to third here? Yes, because I was already on my way to second when the ball left play. I do get to third. So now I'm thinking that what I ought to do is steal home with Nomar and bat grounder with Gwen. We'll see once we get out of this timeout and back into the game if that's the decision I decide to make. Excuse me. I keep it on. Yeah, I like grounder here. Let's see whether he alternates high and low. Looks like he is, yes. So I should probably keep it on line drive here, assuming he's going to throw low. I think it's probably a mistake. I'm sorry. I should have gone grounder. Go, 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 go! Oh, no. Probably could have handled that a little better. Had Nomar on the steal. Started sprinting immediately with Gwen. To try to take advantage of a potential drop. Oh, speaking of drops. Let's catch this, please. Oh! And I've got nobody. I have no relay person. Both Cheryl and... Why is my shortstop in the outfield right now? Oh, boy. That was painful to watch. As far as I remember, I mean, if I were more tech savvy, I could rewind and check without messing up the timing of my commentary. But as far as I remember, I didn't click on either Wally or Claudia. Oh, I'm sorry, Wally or Cheryl at second or third to try to get that ball. They just missed it all by themselves. Ball sailed straight between them. And it was Barry who I wanted to field it out there in center, but, you know, instead, my second baseman and shortstop ended up out there with him, and I had no relay man to throw to. You know, it's just a lack of knowledge about game mechanics on my part. However, we do get a very nice, like, pixel-perfect pitch to start off this at-bat. It looks like whereas I struggle to see whether pitches are inside the zone when they're high, Matt struggles when they're low. He has let a bunch of perfectly hittable corner pitches go by so far this game. And we get a nice little power up here. And it is a more juice, so I may switch back to Holly pretty soon. Okay, I just take the guaranteed out here and let Claudia get to third. I think that's probably the right call. We can just walk Betty, and then he's got some... Then he's got Karen after her. So Karen I can pitch to. She's the sort of batter who might hit a... She's like a line drive hitter. So...
Oh, well, you'll do better.
For whatever reason, Matt does not swing to force me to throw a fifth pitch in that at-bat. Which brings out Karen. Do I switch here? Yes, I do. Assuming that I can retire Karen, after Karen he's got Johnny Omar, Fernando Diaz. So only a couple more batters before he's back up to the top of his order, I think. I don't know if I have that correct. Wally catches the ball. Yes. So a pretty disastrous inning for me, I would say. It felt even worse about it than the back-to-back-to-back home runs I gave up earlier, because that was just kind of amazing that Raquel was able to, put the third exclamation point on that sequence. Big hit from Wally, and another drop. And for whatever reason, I do not run with Wally. I really should have, I think. Feel a bit bad for my opponent dropping so many of these balls, because it does look as though, with one exception, he did misposition Claudia in center field earlier. But with that one exception, it seems as though his outfield has been put in the right spot to make these plays, and they're just not doing it. So really, he should have 2 outs right now. But that's not the way the game works, unfortunately. Outs that you should get are not necessarily outs that you do get. Nice hit from Holly. Artie needs to back up here, man. Ooh. And look, now he's got no cutoff man, so I think Artie can just run safely. Oh, no. Oh, that was terrible. Okay, I think we're going to make it with Artie. Go home, Artie. Go home. Yes. Yeah. My base running has cost me 4 base runners at this point over, that last inning and one of the earlier ones. I got the double pickle situation where you can juggle both of your runners, but we had some unfortunate timing with some falls and also some misclicks where I had both people running towards second base for some reason in the middle of that play. So that's a killer for sure. Definitely a lesson that I can take away from this game. That was very low, but Fernando swings at it, which I'm glad to see. It does give me a fireball, so I can manage some of his scarier hitters. Okay, well, if I had used the more juice earlier, I would have had enough arm strength that I could get it to third, so I guess that is also, on me. I was thinking, since I had the fireball in my mind, I was like, we wait to use the more juice until after the fireball. But that turns out that was a mistake, as Holly, limp-wristedly throws to first. And as a result, Matt's worst batter, yeah, this is the correct order, I think. His worst batter makes it onto first base, but he's also slow, so he does get thrown out there for the double play. Now we've got the top of my order up here, so the game is not over. Looks like Matt is it's going to be a pitching change for the Expos. And I'm so frustrated with Wally, I guess, that I decide to put him out there in left field for when my team heads back onto the diamond for the top of the 6th. Right now, though, I've got to worry about offense. Can we rally? It's low, right? Yep. Pretty sure that was going to be in the high outside corner, just inside the zone. This is in. And we get a nice hit. Okay. Good start to the inning. His left fielder not quite fast enough to grab that ball before it scrapes the ground. Do we know that Fernando is a hooks pitcher? Oh, yeah. Okay. Thought that might be able to get by him, as there is the fielders in this game do kind of go into an awkward shift when the opponent has just one batter on first base and nobody else. Their shortstop covers second base. Big hit from Cheryl. We're hoping for a drop here. Yeah, there we go. Run, Wally, run. Do we run here at home? Looks like okay. I do, but he throws home rather than to third. Not quite able to snipe me. So a home run here from Alicia would be game tying. That's definitely what I'm looking for. He's going to pitch carefully, I'm sure. Big hit. Is that going to hit the screen? No, but it does. Oh my, yeah. Okay, so that's definitely Betty Houston there at second base. He's trying to hide her there, but in that instance, the double Gretchen Hasselhoff tier throw is a clear indicator of who he's got there, and it costs him. Swinging power with Nomar here. Maybe a little greedy, but he does have home run power. Not super reliable, but if I can get it here, I jump out to the lead. So I'm, is that a strike? Okay, wow. There's no way I knew for sure where that pitch would land, but we get a little lucky there. Okay, at a 3-1 count, we might get something juicy. Ooh, very nice. Alicia a little bit too slow to be able to get to third. So we'll have to settle for runners on second and third. Another pitching change from my opponent. Is Johnny Omar coming back on the mound? Or is it going to be Betty? Kind of surprised that Johnny was his second option as opposed to Betty. It is Johnny. Okay, he doesn't favor Betty, I guess. She has the most stamina out of anyone on his team. But I guess stamina isn't exactly what he needs right now. Okay. I decide not to steal. Yeah, I've got 2 strikes. I need to put all my focus into judging whether the pitch will be in the zone. Predicting a fastball here. There it is. And there was a good chance that would have, ended up in the zone, so I don't regret swinging at that. That's a ball, maybe? Yeah. Well, an unfortunate fly out, but Artie is, a fairly capable hitter, so we've still got a chance to go ahead here in the bottom of the 5th. It's too high. Nice hit from Artie. We need a drop here. And we get it. Unfortunately, Alicia is too slow to make it home. We really did need that hit to be of better quality. But, it's one that he should have caught anyway, so I don't feel as though I was, it's not as though the tying run was within my grasp. It was the opposite, really. Okay, a catch from... Finally, he gets a clean catch, and just in time. It's not as though the tying run was within my grasp. Rather, the out, like the inning ending out, was within his grasp. And Susan Gore, who I assume is his shortstop, dropped the ball. I'm going to pitch a little bit of junk, see if he's frustrated enough to swing at it. Guess not. Holly just grabbed that cleanly. Very nice. I could easily see myself flubbing it if I had gone for a manual catch there. Though, some of the game's best players do... Wow. Amazed he did not pull the trigger on that. Some of the game's best players do have the ability to within a split second of the game going into overhead view to see where the ball goes after it's been hit. They can click on the far left or far right, and somehow that adjusts their pitcher's position rather than their third or first baseman to get quick grounders towards the mound. I don't understand how they do that. There's a lot about this game, honestly, that I don't quite get. Okay, so I have the option here to throw a fireball and get, if we pitch carefully, get him up to 2 strikes, then we can throw the fireball and clinch him. So that I'll need to score only 1 run. But the problem is, if I do that, Holly, who will be coming up to bat for me, in the bottom of the 6th, will have a lot less stamina, having expended it for the fireball pitch. That's in the zone. Alicia, what the hell are you doing? Okay. Wonder if he's on power. Because Raquel hit that big home run before. All right. Can Wally make the grab? Yes. My man. And we did not have to use a fireball, so Holly does have decent stamina and decent speed. Hopefully we'll be able to push her around the base path. Tie this game up. Or even win it this inning. ball, yeah? Okay. Ooh, that's hittable. That was a beautiful pitch, man. A big hit from Holly here. And a diving catch from what's-her-face. My guess would be Sheila? I don't know. Okay, so now the top of my order is coming up. My opponent probably going back to his original pitcher. Nope, still Johnny on the mound. It was Johnny before, wasn't it? I don't know, I've lost track. Oh yeah, get that. Okay. If that screen were not there, the game would be tied right now. But it's okay. We have we've got a runner on second, and we've got some strong batters coming up. Oh no. Oh my gosh, what a laser beam from Susan to the third baseman. That's crushing. When I tripped like that and he threw to second, I thought, oh, okay, so I'm already, it's not as though I actually turned around and started heading back towards second. Since I'm still in the middle of the base path, now I can get to third. So perhaps it was fortunate that I tripped, but Susan's arm just way too strong. And as a result, that's the third out rather than the second. So catastrophic base running for me in this game. And I'm eliminated. This is my third loss in this tournament. As I recall, Harlem Globetrotter was also eliminated in the other game in this kind of Final Four round, which set up matt95, undefeated, versus Montagna Magica, or however you say his name, who battled back from being 0-2 to being 5-2 after however many rounds we'd played up to that point. Not 7, as you might expect, because of the weird way that the first round worked. In any case, between those two victorious coaches, Matt and Montagna, Matt ended up winning the very next game. So he not only did he win the tournament, he did it without taking a single loss. So big congratulations to him. I feel pretty good about my performance in this tournament. Obviously, I was bolstered by the presence of an additional pro player, being a little leaguer. I don't think I'm going to get those sorts of benefits in the future if I sign up for these side events. So that ends my run, at least in the Harlem tournament. Thanks to Mr. Globetrotter for putting it on. There was a 32-man March Madness style bracket that kicked off shortly after this, which I did sign up for. So in a little bit, maybe not the next upload, but one of my subsequent uploads, I'll post my first round match in that bracket. And we'll see how we do. As for the next upload, though, it's probably going to be my Week 10 game in the Little League. Now that this big triple elimination tournament is over, I can get back to focusing on that a little bit. So once again, congratulations to Matt, both for this victory and for winning the entire event. And for those of you listening, thank you for doing so. And I'll be back with my Week 10 match against Theo Epstein pretty soon. Bye-bye.